Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim who are tuning to these videos. In this video, I wanted to play a little bit of this clip that was uploaded today by CBS. And the news basically is the congressmen are speaking about this orb that survived a missile strike. It's the UFO hearing. And so this full disclosure, a lot of people are privy to this notion, but they don't have a full understanding of what these supposed UFOs really are. And we're here to tell you that those are the chariots of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, and that the angels that encamp around about those who fear him and do his will. And by these vehicles is how the elect of the nation of Israel is going to be delivered out of this place, because this place is going to be destroyed in World War III. And with these chariots, a lot of the military that is gearing up for this battle is going to be futile. You got Trump, where when he was president, he initiated the Space Force, and he basically made a sixth branch in the military, where they had the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force. Now they have the Space Force. And all those soldiers, militaries, and high-tech vehicles to try to go to the stratosphere are really to combat the chariots and to fulfill prophecy. And we already know, as the scriptures say, how that's going to play out. These people are going to be so afraid when they're up in the sky going against these chariots. Because this is just one article and video of a supposed UFO orb surviving a missile strike. But we've seen countless videos that have been put out to say that they are actually valid video clips. They're not CGI or edited. These are actual video things that the American government and the military are studying, so that they could hopefully, in their minds, come up against those things. So from this video, I'm just going to play right here as this guy, he's about to show the clip, and he's explaining that they're going to shoot a missile. And it's I fast forward a little bit of it because they're just going into the technology of how high tech this specific missile is. But the chariot basically just, like it says, it survived that missile. It took it. It didn't phase it. Didn't scratch it or anything. And that's the power of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai.
30th of 2024. This video is of an MQ-9 drone tracking an orb, or this object, off the coast of Yemen. You'll see that another MQ-9 launched a Hellfire missile. You cannot see that drone. And so I'm not going to explain it to you. You'll see exactly what it does. This is when it zoomed out. So you can still see it traveling. About so, Mr. Knapp, have you heard about events like this occurring? And what information might you have?
I have heard about events like this. I have heard about this event. Jeremy Corbell and I talked about it in one of our...
All right, so I just wanted to point out, too, that this Edomite that's speaking and watching this video is stuttering and stammering, and it looks like he's stressing, because ultimately it's like he knows that that's going to be his demise. That is the way at which the Heavenly Father is going to ignite this. Well, not ignite it, but fan the flames, because the missiles are going to ignite the flames, but the chariots are going to make sure that all these people are going to be destroyed. It's going to be the plague that the Heavenly Father spoke of, and those chariots are going to amplify the fires that are about to take place, just to showcase how much Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai hates this place. So first precept I wanted to read here is in Psalms 68 and 17. The chariots of the Most High Yahweh are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place. So this right here, these chariots are basically the floating vehicles, the pillar of light, the things that how when we left Egypt were in the sky to take care of us. And you can read various accounts about the chariots, the supposed UFOs that are actually in the scriptures, with detail enough to know that if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you can receive what this is. So this is in Exodus 13 and 21. It says, "And the Lord, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, to go by day and night." And so this pillar of fire, this pillar of light, the cloud, is basically the vehicle. It's pretty simple, really, that this is speaking about a vehicle that is floating, flying, and can travel light speeds. It's got a wheel within a wheel, as it says in the book of Ezekiel. It's got various things. It looks like a flying roll. And as you were just watching that video, it just looks like a small orb floating. But it was going incredibly fast, and it took that missile and it didn't scratch it. Didn't even really phase it. It moved it a little bit, but it just kept going its course. And so that's speaking about the chariots of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. And to note also, when Yahushai left in the first chapter of the book of Acts, there was angels with him, and he was brought up into a cloud. And the people were asking that is this the time where Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai is going to establish and restore the kingdom to the nation of Israel? But it wasn't that time. But when Yahushai returns, he is going to return in the same manner in which he left, by the way of the chariots. How he was beamed up on the cloud, that's how he's going to return. He's going to be riding the fathership of fatherships. It's going to be very big and immaculate. And it's only fitting because, like I referenced, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai hates this place. So all the more reason to unleash all of the arsenal of the Heavenly Father. He is the Lord of hosts, if you can remember. So I'm going to get another chapter. This one's going to be in, just give me 1 second. All right, so this is in 2nd Ezra 13, and let me see, I'm going to find in, I'll start at right here, verse 3. It says, "And I beheld, and lo, the man waxed strong with 1,000 of heaven, and when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him." And this is speaking about how Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai is going to send his son down here so that he could devastate this place. In verse 4 it says, "And whosoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it fleeth from fire." And so that concentrated fire here is speaking about how the chariots are going to zap this place and enhance the flames. A lot of movies go into this visual, like I forget, I think it's the War of the Worlds, where the aliens were walking around in tripods and they were zapping people. That's that concentrated fire in which Yahushai is going to bring and fan these flames. Continuing on, verse 5, it says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of the number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea." And so to subdue the man that came out of the sea, the oceans, the heavens, because that's where the space, the stratosphere, if you will, that is basically the waters, the Shemayims, if you will, in Hebrew. And so this man who came out of the sea is basically speaking about how Yahushai is going to be coming out of space, coming from space, for lack of better terms. But so these people from four winds in the corners of the earth are speaking about the heathen nations, because as they're battling in the valley of Yehoshaphat, they're going to have to stop fighting each other and go up against the chariots. That chariot also in the video specifically was recorded in Yemen last year around October. And so just to let you know that is basically a normal place where those chariots are visiting and traversing in the Middle East. And that's where all of these military personnel and their aircrafts, vehicles, tanks, or whatever are going to be sent to. And so when this is happening, because this is very prophetic right here, when Yahushua returns, that they're going to try to subdue that man. And so from verse 4, starting from verse 5 again, it says, "And after this, behold, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of the number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it." And this is that fathership I was referencing. Yahushua is going to be on a very great mountain. And also this vision that was given to Ezra, he couldn't really understand what he was seeing, but when he is looking in the sky, it looked as if it was a giant mountain. And I'm going to continue on. Verse 7, it says, "But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not." Verse 8, it says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, all they that which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight." Well, I'll read from verse 7 again. It says, "But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not." Letting you know that when Ezra was looking up, he couldn't see the beginning of this chariot or the end of it. It was just a giant UFO, supposedly. Or like, if you ever watched the movie Independence Day, where that giant UFO shot the White House, it's going to be pretty much bigger than that. And like even in that movie, people were looking up into the sky, and it cast a giant shadow. Like all of that place, wherever it was at, it was casted a big shadow, so that no matter where you went, you were still under that UFO. And so that literally is going to take place when Yahushua returns on that fathership. And in verse 8 says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight." Because ultimately the Heavenly Father is going to force these people to fight. It's going to basically override them and just to go up against these chariots and to try to subdue Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. And ultimately, as you saw in that clip, nothing that they have, whatever weapon they formed against them, is not going to prosper. Like literally. So this is continuing on. Let me see. Verse 9, it says, "And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been, a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests." And so just going into just that devastation that Yahushua is going to bring. So this is in Zechariah 5, and I'm going to start at verse 1, just going back into how in various chapters of the scriptures, it speaks about the chariots. So this is in Zechariah's account. This is verse 1. It says, "Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes, and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then he said unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For every one that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side, according to it, and every one that sweareth shall be cut off as on this side, according to it. And as verse 4 says, I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof, and the stones thereof." So it's speaking about how this chariot is basically going to go to the captors, the Edomites, because we're yet in this day in our captivity. And when Yahushua finds us, we're still going to be under his rule. So he's going to devastate them for that. And as it says in verse 3, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. Because it ain't just America where these chariots are going to visit. They're going to visit various locations. But also, not just to devastate places, but to deliver the elect whithersoever they were scattered. And with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakadash, Shalom Akim.